Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, it's never enough? You bend, you stretch, you break just to make everyone else happy. You say yes when you want to say no. You smile when you're tired, and slowly, without realizing it, you start losing yourself. You try to please everyone. You feel responsible for things you can't even control. And that pressure, it never stops. It builds quietly, heavily, until one day it explodes, not on the outside, but inside you, in your mind, in your peace, in your joy. But here's the truth nobody tells you. You were never meant to carry all of that. The more you care about everything and everyone, the less room you have for yourself. And that's why you feel stuck. That's why you're drained. But what if I told you there's another way? In this video, you're going to learn the mindset shift that changes everything. We're going to talk about why caring less, yes, less, is the key to feeling lighter, freer, and actually happier. And no, it's not about becoming cold or selfish. It's about choosing where your energy goes and why. By the end, you won't just understand how to care less. You'll feel empowered to live differently, to protect your peace, to reclaim your energy. So if you're tired of being tired, stay with me. What you're about to hear might just change the way you live forever. Not everything needs your attention. Not every situation deserves your reaction. Some things just aren't worth it, no matter how loud or urgent they seem in the moment. But when you're always reacting, always jumping to fix, to defend, to explain, you're giving away your energy without even realizing it. And that energy, it's limited. You only have so much of it each day. You can't afford to waste it on things that don't really matter in the long run. There's a quiet kind of strength in knowing when to walk away, not because you're weak, but because you're wise. You've learned that not every argument needs to be won. Not every opinion needs your correction, and not every drama needs your presence. Some people are just looking for a reaction. They want to pull you into their storm. But when you choose peace over proving a point, you win in a way they'll never understand. Choosing your battles doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about you, about your peace, your progress, your mental space. It means you've stopped trying to fight every little fire, and instead you're building a life that doesn't burn you out. You're focused on what truly matters, your growth, your goals, your happiness. The truth is, most of the things we stress over today won't matter a year from now. Some won't matter next week. So why give them the power to ruin your day? Why let them live rent-free in your head? You get to decide what's worth your time, your energy, your emotions. And that decision, it shapes your reality. So next time something tugs at your attention, pause. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Is this worth my focus? Or is this just noise trying to distract me from where I'm actually going? Because when you learn to care less about the noise, you finally start to hear yourself clearly. You weren't born to be a mirror for everyone else's opinions. Yet somehow along the way you started to believe that if people liked you, then you must be doing something right. You adjusted your tone, smiled when you didn't feel like it, hid your truth just to avoid judgment. And all of that just to earn approval that never really lasts. Because no matter what you do, there's always someone who thinks it's not enough. You are not here to meet everyone's expectations, and the moment you stop trying to, you'll feel something you may not have felt in a long time: freedom. Approval is addictive, but it's also exhausting. You start shaping your life around what others want instead of what you need. Their voices become louder than your own, and before you know it, you're living someone else's idea of success, happiness, and worth. But here's what no one tells you. You'll never please everyone anyway. You could be kind and they'll say you're weak. You could be strong and they'll say you're cold. You could stay silent and they'll call you distant. You could speak your truth and they'll call you too much. So why keep molding yourself for people who will shift the goalposts no matter what? The truth is, chasing approval puts your life on pause. You wait for permission to be who you already are. You hesitate, you overthink, you dim your light because you're scared it might blind someone else. But your job isn't to make everyone comfortable. Your job is to be real, to be honest, to be you. And the people who truly see you won't need you to shrink. They'll respect you for standing tall. Because when you stop chasing applause, you start walking your path. Unfiltered, unapologetic, and that's when you really begin to live. We scroll for hours, soaking in images and stories that look perfect. Smiling faces, luxury vacations, flawless skin, happy couples. It feels like everyone else is living a better life. And without meaning to, you start to compare. Your morning doesn't look like that. Your body doesn't match that. Your reality feels dull next to their highlight reel. But what if you're comparing your behind the scenes to their best moments? What if all of it isn't even real? Likes don't equal value. A number on a screen doesn't define your worth, yet somehow we treat it like it does. We post and wait, we refresh, we wonder why a photo didn't get enough attention. We let a tiny heart icon shape how we feel about ourselves. But your value can't be measured in likes. It's not in followers. It's in how you treat people, how you show up when no one's watching, who you are offline when it's just you and your thoughts. Filters hide the truth. What you see online is often curated, edited, staged. People don't post their worst days. They don't show the arguments, the tears, the insecurity. They show what they want you to see, and when all you see is perfection, it's easy to forget that everyone's struggling with something, even the ones who seem to have it all together. It's dangerous to base your worth on what you see online, because it creates a constant race you can't win. There will always be someone with more likes, more beauty, more success. But none of that takes away from you. Your journey is your own. It's not meant to look like anyone else's. So stop measuring yourself against pixels. Stop shrinking because of someone else's filtered version of reality. You are enough as you are, without the edits. The real you, the one with flaws, mess, and growth, is more powerful than any perfect post. And the sooner you see that, the freer you become. Not every comment needs an answer. Not every insult needs a comeback. There's a kind of calm power in choosing silence when everything inside you wants to shout. You don't have to respond to everything. Sometimes the best response is no response at all. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're in control. Because when you react to every little thing, you give your power away to people who never deserved it. There's a difference between being silent out of fear and being silent out of peace. One is hiding. The other is rising above. When you choose not to react, you're not letting them win. You're just choosing not to play their game. And that's a strength most people never learn. It takes discipline to pause. It takes confidence to let someone be wrong about you and not feel the need to correct them. Sometimes peace comes from staying quiet, from walking away, from letting the noise pass without dragging you down with it. You realize that your energy is too valuable to be spent on things that don't move you forward. You stop engaging in battles that don't matter. You stop trying to prove your point to people committed to misunderstanding you. Not reacting doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care more about your peace than proving yourself right. It means you've grown past the need for validation in every moment. You've learned that real power is silent. It doesn't need to shout to be heard. It speaks through presence, through patience, through clarity, You'll notice that life feels lighter when you stop picking up every bit of negativity thrown your way. Not everything deserves a piece of you. Let people say what they want. Let the world spin how it spins. You stay grounded, you stay centered, and when the dust settles, you're still standing, calm, clear, and untouched. That's real strength. You only have so much space in your mind, your heart, your day. And when that space is filled with stress, comparison, overthinking, and trying to please everyone, you leave no room for what actually matters. When you stop caring about the wrong things, everything starts to shift. You start to breathe differently, think clearly, feel lighter, because the things that once drained you no longer hold power over you. You start to notice what you were missing. The quiet moments, the real connections, the inner peace that doesn't come from getting everything right, but from letting go of what's wrong. You realize how much noise you were carrying, worrying about what they think, stressing over things you can't change, chasing things that never brought true happiness, and suddenly you're done. Not bitter, not angry, just done. That's when something amazing happens. You create room for the right things. Space opens up inside of you, and in that space you find clarity. You find time for the people who love you for who you are, not who you try to be. You find energy for the goals you've been putting off. You find moments of stillness that feel more powerful than any applause or recognition. More joy starts to show up in small ways, a deep breath that feels like peace, a morning without rushing, a conversation that fills you up instead of draining you. More calm starts to settle in, not because life is easier, but because your mind is quieter. You're no longer chasing things that don't align with your soul. You're no longer bending for what doesn't fit. And with that, freedom begins to grow. Not the kind that comes from running away, but the kind that comes from finally choosing yourself. You start to move through life with a quiet confidence, knowing that your energy is being spent on the right things. Things that build you, heal you, and truly matter. You don't have to say yes just to be polite. You don't have to agree just to avoid conflict. It's okay to say no. In fact, sometimes it's necessary. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to yourself. Your time isn't endless. Your energy isn't unlimited. You only have so much to give, and not everything or everyone deserves a piece of it. Protecting your time doesn't mean you're unavailable. It means you're intentional. You're choosing where your energy goes instead of letting it be pulled in every direction. You're not meant to carry everyone's weight. You're not here to be everything to everyone. And the more you try to be, the more you lose sight of yourself. Saying no isn't a rejection of others. It's a protection of yourself. It's drawing a line and saying, this is what I need to stay sane, to stay balanced, to stay me. That's not selfish. That's smart. The people who truly value you will understand, and the ones who don't, maybe they were never really for you in the first place. Your mind is a space that needs guarding. Your peace is a priority, not a luxury. When you stretch yourself too thin, even the things you used to love start to feel like a burden. You become exhausted, resentful, disconnected. But when you start honoring your limits, everything changes. You show up more fully, you speak more clearly, you breathe more deeply. You don't owe anyone an explanation for taking care of yourself. You don't have to justify your boundaries, and you don't need a long excuse to say no. Sometimes no is enough. And when you start using it with confidence, you'll realize how powerful it is. You'll start to feel stronger, calmer, more in control of your life. Because you're not just reacting to what the world throws at you, You're deciding what gets through. Caring doesn't mean giving everything. It doesn't mean losing yourself in someone else's problems, emotions, or chaos. You still care, but wisely. You've learned that love without limits turns into burnout, that empathy without boundaries becomes self-destruction. So now you show up with heart, but also with balance. You give, but not to the point where you have nothing left for yourself. There's a quiet strength in knowing where to stop. You no longer chase people who don't value your presence. You no longer pour into situations that only drain you. Instead, you've started listening to your gut. You feel it when something pulls you too far, when the weight isn't yours to see, Ari. And you let it go, not because you don't care, but because you finally understand that caring doesn't mean sacrificing your peace. You don't overinvest in what drains you. You don't attach your worth to fixing everything or everyone. You've stopped trying to be the hero in stories that aren't yours to rewrite. You've stopped fighting for places that make you feel small. You know your limits, and more importantly, you respect them. That's not cold, it's clarity. Not easily shaken, not constantly pulled. You've found your ground. You've built a home within yourself, and you don't let just anyone walk in and rearrange the furniture. Your emotions don't swing as wildly. Your focus stays sharp. Your energy goes to the things and people that pour back into you. This isn't about becoming numb. It's about becoming wise. It's about protecting the soft parts of you from being overused. You still care, but you do it with intention, with boundaries, with self-respect. And in doing so, you don't just survive the chaos around you, you rise above it, calm, clear, unshaken. There's something powerful about choosing when and where to direct your energy. Not every disagreement is worth your time. Not every argument needs your voice. Save your energy. The more you engage in drama, the more you feed it. You can get caught up in the back and forth, trying to prove a point, defending yourself, or trying to get someone to understand you. But every time you react, you're giving away a piece of your peace, a piece of your calm. And when you're constantly reacting, you never get a chance to breathe. Walking away from drama is one of the most powerful things you can do for your mental and emotional health. It's not about being passive or avoiding the truth. It's about knowing that some things don't deserve your involvement. You don't need to fight every battle, especially when the outcome won't change anything. Sometimes the best way to handle a situation is to simply step away, to keep your energy intact and let others deal with their own chaos. Responding with calm, or not at all, puts you in control. It's a sign of emotional strength. When you don't react in anger or frustration, you take the power back. You don't let anyone else dictate how you feel or how you respond. When things get heated, you can choose to stay composed, to let the words roll off you without letting them stir your emotions. And if it feels right, sometimes silence is the most effective response. People will try to provoke you, to pull you into their stress, their confusion, their drama. But the more you choose to walk away, to stay calm, the more you protect your inner peace. You stop giving away energy to things that don't matter. You stop feeding negativity and start creating space for what truly brings you peace, joy, and clarity. And that shift, it's not only liberating, it's empowering. No matter what you do, people will think what they want. They'll make assumptions, they'll form opinions, sometimes without knowing the full story. And most of the time, their thoughts have nothing to do with you. People see the world through their own lens, shaped by their experiences, biases, and insecurities. So trying to control what others think of you is like trying to hold the wind in your hands. It's impossible, and it only leaves you frustrated and drained. That's their business. It's not your job to manage how others feel about you. You can't change their perceptions or force them to understand your choices. You don't owe anyone an explanation for living your life the way you choose. The more you try to make others see things your way, the more you lose sight of what matters, your peace. The more energy you put into pleasing others or defending yourself, the more you give away the one thing you need most, your own sense of calm and clarity. Yours is your own peace. That's the truth you have to hold on to. Your peace doesn't depend on what others think or say. It doesn't rise or fall with their approval. Your peace comes from within. It's rooted in knowing who you are, what you stand for, and being at ease with the choices you make, regardless of how others react. Once you let go of the need to control other people's opinions, you'll find that your life becomes lighter. You can stop stressing over things that don't affect your core well-being and start focusing on what truly matters, your inner balance, your happiness, your growth. People will always have something to say, but at the end of the day, their opinions are just that, opinions. And you don't have to let them disturb your peace. You have the power to decide what to let in and what to leave behind. Keep your peace close. It's the one thing that truly belongs to you. Less stress, fewer expectations, more joy. That's the simple formula for a life that feels light. We often get caught up in the idea that happiness comes from having more things, more achievements, more approval. But the truth is, true happiness comes from letting go. Let go of the pressure to constantly be doing, impressing. Let go of the need to meet everyone's expectations. Because when you start to strip away all the noise, you realize that joy doesn't come from the chase, it comes from the quiet. A simple life is often a happy one. It doesn't mean a life without challenges or responsibilities, but a life without unnecessary complexity. It means focusing on what truly matters: your relationships, your health, your passions, your peace. It's about creating space for the things that bring you joy and letting go of everything that weighs you down. You don't need a packed calendar or a full inbox to feel fulfilled. Sometimes the simplest moments are the ones that fill you the most. A quiet morning, a walk in nature, a conversation with someone you care about. When you start to clear away the chaos, you make room for the things that nurture you. Less stress doesn't mean less effort. It means more intentional effort. It's about choosing where to put your energy instead of letting it be scattered across everything and everyone. You don't need to do it all. You don't need to be everything to everyone. And you definitely don't need to meet every expectation that comes your way. When you stop chasing endless goals and start focusing on what brings you peace, you'll be surprised by how much more joy shows up in your life. Let go of the chaos. Stop overthinking, overscheduling, overcommitting. Embrace simplicity and watch how much lighter you feel. Watch how much more space you have for the things that truly matter. The less you carry, the more you can enjoy the journey. And in that space, you'll find a happiness that was always there, just waiting for you to notice. Your goals, your growth, your joy. These are the things that truly matter. The world will try to pull you in 1,000 directions, making you question what's important. People will give you their opinions, expectations, and advice, but when you get quiet, when you stop and listen to your own heart, you start to realize what really counts. It's not about keeping up with everyone else. It's about aligning with what feels right for you. You get clear on what really counts when you stop chasing after distractions. You stop focusing on external measures of success that don't feed your soul. You begin to see that your personal growth and happiness are far more valuable than impressing others or meeting someone else's timeline. Your goals become more focused. You understand the value of each step you take toward them, no matter how small. And instead of getting lost in the what ifs and shoulds, you focus on the present and what's within your control. As you become more clear, life feels lighter. The weight of unnecessary worry starts to fade. You stop overthinking, overanalyzing, and overcommitting. You realize that you don't need everything to be perfect. You don't need to check off every box on someone else's list of expectations. You simply need to stay true to your path, keep moving forward, and celebrate the progress you're making. When you focus on your goals, your growth, and your joy, everything else starts to fall into place. You stop wasting time on things that don't contribute to your happiness. You stop stressing over things you can't control. Instead, you nurture what's most important to you, your dreams, your well-being, your peace. And with that clarity, life feels lighter. It's easier to breathe, easier to smile, easier to just be. And when you're clear on what counts, you start living with a sense of freedom that allows you to enjoy every step of the journey. Caring less isn't about being cold, it's about protecting your peace. When you stop letting the opinions, drama, and chaos of the world control you, you make space for what really matters: your happiness, your growth, your calm. It's not about being indifferent, it's about being intentional with your energy and your time. Try it. Let go of the things that drain you. Watch how much lighter you feel, how much happier you become. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content that helps you live a more peaceful, intentional life.